Resurrecting the force putting man in the town but in truth. Like, so the link to the video with the description below. Go and check them out. So let's get into this Viking 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Whoa.
The town of Maplewood had never kept a secret in its entire history.
Really?
Every birth, every heartbreak, every quiet shame had eventually found its way out, passed from one kitchen table to the next, carried down Main Street in whispers until it became something everyone knew and no one admitted to knowing. That was simply the nature of small towns. That was simply the nature of Maplewood. So when Nathan Cole walked out of the local clinic on a gray Tuesday morning with tears he was trying very hard to hold back, it was only a matter of time before the whole town knew what the doctor had told him. Nathan was 32 years old. He had lived in Maplewood his entire life, and he was pregnant. He had suspected it for nearly 3 weeks before he finally made the appointment. He had told himself it was exhaustion from working long hours at the construction firm. He had told himself the nausea was something he ate, the dizziness a sign that he needed more sleep, more water, more of something simple and easily fixed. He had spent 3 weeks explaining away every symptom because the alternative, the thing his body was quietly, insistently telling him, was something his mind was not ready to accept. But bodies are patient. They wait, and eventually they make themselves impossible to ignore. The doctor had confirmed it gently, carefully, in the measured tone of someone delivering news that had no existing script. She had explained his condition again, the rare chromosomal variation that had been part of Nathan his whole life, the biological reality that made this possible in a way it was not possible for most. She had spoken about next steps, about specialists in the city, about the importance of early care. Nathan had nodded through all of it. He had not truly heard any of it until he was alone in his car, sitting very still in the clinic parking lot, staring at nothing. He drove home without turning on the radio. The house felt different when he walked in, or perhaps he was the one who was different, carrying something new and enormous inside him that changed the way everything looked. He moved through the rooms slowly, as if seeing them for the first time, trying to imagine what they would look like months from now, trying to imagine what his life would look like. He thought about Aaron. Aaron was his partner of 4 years, steady and dependable and deeply, quietly devoted in the way some people are without ever needing to announce it. They had met at a work conference in the city, 2 men from different worlds who had somehow found the same wavelength within an hour of knowing each other. Aaron had relocated to Maplewood 18 months later. He had never once made Nathan feel as though that was a sacrifice. Nathan had told Aaron about his condition early in their relationship, before things had grown serious, because he believed Aaron deserved to know before he chose to stay. Aaron had received the information with the same calm steadiness he brought to everything, not dismissive, not overwhelmed, simply present and accepting and entirely unchanged in the way he looked at Nathan afterward. That memory was the only thing that kept Nathan from completely falling apart that afternoon. He told Aaron that evening. He sat across from him at the kitchen table and laid out every word as plainly and honestly as he could, because he had never known how to be anything other than direct with the man he loved. He watched Aaron's face move through surprise, through something unreadable, before a long and careful silence, before it settled into something that looked quietly and unmistakably like resolve. Aaron reached across the table and took Nathan's hand without a word. That was enough. That was everything. But Maplewood was another matter entirely. The news spread the way news always did, quickly, thoroughly, and without mercy.
Wow.
By the end of the week, Nathan could feel the town's awareness of him like a physical weight. He noticed the way conversations paused when he entered a room. He noticed the stares that tried to disguise themselves as something else. He noticed the neighbors who suddenly found reasons to be busy when he passed. and the ones who went out of their way to be kind in the exaggerated, self-conscious manner of people who wanted credit for their open-mindedness. He said nothing about any of it. He went to work, he attended his appointments in the city, he came home to Aaron, who had quietly reorganized his entire schedule to be present for every doctor's visit, every difficult evening, every moment Nathan needed someone to sit beside him without being asked. The town watched, Nathan endured, and slowly, imperceptibly, something began to shift. It started small, the way real changes do. A coworker who had been distant for weeks arrived at Nathan's desk one morning with coffee and no explanation beyond a brief, sincere apology for how he had behaved. An elderly woman from Nathan's childhood neighborhood stopped him outside the grocery store to tell him that she admired his courage more than he would ever know. A card appeared in the mailbox, unsigned, filled with words so warm and unexpected that Nathan had to sit down when he read it. Maplewood was not a perfect town. It never would be. But it was a town made of people, and people, given enough time, given enough proximity to something real and human and undeniable, were capable of expanding what they thought they understood. Nathan's son was born on the first warm morning of spring. It had started the night before, a dull, persistent ache in his lower back that he had tried to dismiss as tiredness until it became something he could no longer ignore. By midnight, the pain had deepened into something fierce and rhythmic, arriving in waves that took his breath away completely. Aaron had gotten them to the hospital within the hour, one hand on the wheel and the other firmly holding Nathan's. His water broke in the hallway corridor. The hours that followed were the longest of Nathan's life, each contraction rolling through him harder than the last, his body doing something it was never designed to do and doing it anyway with a stubbornness that matched everything else about him. He gripped Aaron's hand through every wave of pain, through every moment he thought he couldn't continue, through every second that tested the very edges of what he could endure. And then, after all of it, the pain, the fear, the long, impossible night, came silence, followed immediately by the most extraordinary sound Nathan had ever heard. He came into the world in a city hospital, surrounded by a medical team that treated his birth with the same care and professionalism they brought to every patient, even as they knew they were witnessing something extraordinary. Aaron stood at Nathan's side through every moment of it, solid and unwavering, exactly as he had always been. When the nurse placed the baby in Nathan's arms for the first time, the world went very quiet. Not the heavy silence of uncertainty or fear, but the clean, open silence of something beginning, something that had no map and needed none. In a hospital room several hours from Maplewood, a family of 3 took their first breath together. And back in that small town with its long memory and its slow-moving heart, something was already changing, the story it would tell itself from that day forward. Not every path has been walked before. Not every story has a guide or a blueprint or someone who has gone ahead to show the way. Some people simply walk forward anyway, and in doing so, they make the path for everyone who comes after. If this story moved you, subscribe for a brand new story every single week, each one different, because every kind of love deserves to be heard.
Wow, that was the first Panama in the town by Into Truth. The link to the video will be in the description below. Go and check them out. In drop a like if you like. And comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new. And click the bell so you can be notified when I upload and when the post and go live in my path. Wow.